Recording again. Welcome back to the Alexandrian Codex. I'm Alex. This is Hearts of Iron 4, Old World Blues mod, playing as Vault City. Stalling for time as we research better tech so we don't get our asses kicked by another tribe. That was mortifying. We have a pretty good idea, but it's very easy to assume that from limited records we have a full understanding of what the past entailed, whether that be recent history or distant history. The further things get back, fuck, we have a hard enough time telling exactly what the layout of a city in upstate New York was in the early 1900s. We have tools and records and stuff like that, and we have a hard enough time figuring out what life was like in a town in the 1890s in the United States, and we have, by comparison, a much more literate and comprehensive record-keeping society than the Romans had. And even then, our understanding of the day-to-day life of peoples is heavily skewed by the few people who were literate and, more importantly, the surviving records. And not just one surviving records, but corroborating surviving records. Yeah, you definitely can extrapolate a lot based on other societies at the time, and generally agrarian societies and rural societies being fairly stable, but that's a sweeping generalization. It's a lot of what we know about Greece and Rome and in the Western gaze, anyway, in the Western academic tradition, is highly mythologized, highly glamorized and blitzed up and dressed up and larger than life. And it's not by accident. It was a very intentional process. Like, if you look at the tradition of studying Rome, just studying Rome in Western history, it was used for a very long time in the Middle Ages and in the High Middle Ages, High Medieval period, and the Renaissance, and the early Enlightenment, and et cetera, up into the modern day, is being this epitome of what came before, the epitome of the greatest thing that we could possibly accomplish or had ever been accomplished. And there's a lot of romanticism, and fuck the word romanticism even, that plays into it. It's very hard for me to not be skeptical as fuck of the validity and truth to a lot of our not understandings of Rome, but our general opinion of Rome and the gross glorification of it in Western society. Like, there are many peoples that we don't know, that we're hearing limited or skewed accounts of them. There are many peoples whose histories have been completely erased and we're none the wiser. It's ridiculous looking back 100 years, hell, even 10 years in some cases, and looking at the stories that very intentionally have been erased from the record. Now, and I don't mean conspiratorially, I just mean generally. And sometimes, yes, very conspiratorially, but if you look at the things about the Kennedy administration that we are learning about how we horribly misunderstood it, and we've had historians dedicatedly studying the Kennedy administration since the fucking Kennedy administration, and we live in a time of excellent record keeping And still, there's things that surprise us every day about very recent history. I, I, we get a decent landscape of ancient history, a very broad landscape. But I don't believe that the historical record is adequate enough to paint a portrait of it. Maybe a broad stroke portrait using a kind of once-over approach type deal. Like if it's a painting, it's not a Seurat painting, right? That's modern information age, how we understand things. If it's a painting, it's a late Manet or something like that. It's very impressionistic. I'm a little disappointed with how small our focus tree was for Vault City. It's a really interesting faction, and really noteworthy faction in that we're the only fucking people on the map who can make research facilities, which is huge. But we haven't really had the motivation to do so. The focus trees aren't carrying us to the point where, like, okay, we'll attack these tribe and this tribe, and that's it. That's it. You don't have focuses. More dynamic focuses might be interesting, but Hearts of Iron is a game that the dynamism has kind of been stripped away more and more since Hearts of Iron and Hearts of Iron 2. Like, non-aggression packs, military access, even suing for peace without total capitulation are things that have more or less been gutted out of the game. So dynamic wars in Hoi are really kind of janky and slow in comparison, if you will, to Victoria 2 or EU4 or hell, even Stellaris, where you can kind of declare immediately and then have to make the peace treaty after the fact. I don't know. There's a lot of things I like about this game, and this is just a fact about me in general. The more I learn about a thing, the better I understand a thing, the more criticisms I tend to have of it. Like, it's very easy to love a thing from a distance. But if you play with it and you engage with it and you critically understand it, it's much easier to become cynical and spoiled. Spoiled in the sense of, like, jaded. It's very easy to become jaded. Like, when I remember when I first started playing Hearts of Iron series, it was Hearts of Iron 2. And I was abso-fucking-lutely blown away by the game and the mechanics, and it seemed like such an... I think I played Hearts of Iron 2 before Darkest Hour came out. Darkest Hour and... Was Darkest Hour the one that added the alien invasion option that was based off of the World War series? I strongly remember having a lot of fun with that. It's a shame. It is a damn shame that that is a thing that hadn't been carried on to later versions of the game. Because I would love that to be a console command I could pop in. I remember just being absolutely blown away by the depth of the game. And there was a lot of depth. There still is a lot of depth. There's even more depth today than there was in the old versions of the mod that I remember playing. But it wasn't just the depth, it was the mystery of it. The imagination that I had, how I was imagining there being such depth and so much to it. The immersion you can have when you have a really good strategy game is just like, oh, there's all these little moving pieces. It's like looking at a watch for the first time, or a grandfather clock, opening it up and seeing all the moving parts, and it's like magic. It's absolutely like magic. But once you start Okay, so it starts here and then it does this, and if you spend a lot of time looking at the guts of that clock, it stops being magic. No, it can still be filling and exciting and interesting, but it no longer has that air of ooh to it so much. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but I find that to be a consequence of study in general. In fact, back in my youth, when I was, more religiously inclined, my favorite passage of the Bible read something to the effect, and I'm gonna butcher this depending on what version you like, whoever increases in knowledge increases in suffering. So good. Because it means, like, it's the flip side of ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is literally bliss. The more you understand, the more difficult things become. Like, the more you learn, the more you know you don't know. The more you learn, the more terrible the world can seem, because you start learning about things you were willingly or unwillingly ignorant of before. Oh. No military tech research. You have to won't be able to finish your canal. Well, who are you playing as in Victoria? Generally, Vicky can be pretty easy to... God, I don't even remember the right army composition that you need to have in that game. I remember guards are generally better than regular infantry. I'm trying to remember the guard to artillery ratio that you should have. It depends on who you're playing as. No Miltech, you might be okay. Might not. What year is it, and how have you gotten away without getting military tech? It's one of the first things I always research when I'm playing Victoria 2 is going after the machine guns tech, because it helps your ability to colonize. Which is kind of dark if you think about it. At all, but yeah, that's... You could always lose the war, and I know that's not what you want to hear, but that's part of what makes strategy games fun, is the high stakes, and being able to lose and then come back later and snatch victory from the proverbial jaws of defeat. Or, you know, literal jaws of defeat, I guess, in that case. Ah, Sweden. Sweden's... No, I don't think I've done a Sweden into Scandinavia game in Vicky 2. I've had a lot of similar games, but I think I did it as Denmark? No, that can't be right. Maybe I've done it as Sweden. I'm amazed that you have the that you have a canal at all. Is it the Panama Canal? Or did you somehow steal Sinai from the United Kingdom? One war, all the game. Yeah, it's really easy to get away with not fighting in that game. It's the United States in particular. It's very important to get away with not fighting, because that increases immigrant attraction. Or rather, it doesn't decrease immigrant attraction. It might not be the most exciting option, but there's definitely something to be said for biding your time and seeing how much research, military tech you can research before before actually having to get in a full confrontation. Now I'm going to... we can build some more factories. And I'm feeling inclined to do so. Troll Warren, I'm increasingly wanting to go to war with. Arroyo, I'm not gonna fuck with. Oh, hey, you went Enclave. Fuck. God damn it. So our current... We might want to go to war with the Yakuza. And the reason I'm saying we might want to go to war with the Yakuza is that if we do not, the Enclave will. And the Enclave will be able to core this territory and turn that core territory into more population. They already have really, really good... Yeah, a lot of it has to come down to luck, unfortunately. If we can steal this away from them, that would be ideal, I think. Modify government. Again, nothing I want to do here. We are rolling in power armor. Not great power armor, but power armor. And infantry equipment. Let's make these a little bit bigger. How's that looking? Yeah, they're way too heavy now for a lot of the terrain we'll have them in, but that's okay. Supply map mode. Wow, yeah, that's immediately too much for even here, huh? Damn. Alright, Galcona. Right, the courtyard. Courtyard. Move courtyard up. Golconda needs to move up. Battle Mountain needs to move up. And that may be it. I think that's it. Yeah, for now that's it. I'll repair those two, then build courtyard before Golconda, before Battle Mountain. Yeah. Nope. Yeah, there we go. This is my life playing Hearts of Iron 4 is, alright, now we have power armor. Now the game becomes infrastructure simulator the game. Ah, looks like you don't have enough supply there. Oh, fuck. This is forever now. Oh, yeah. Historical focus mod? No, HFM, what does that stand for? There's two very popular mods for Victoria 2, and they do more or less the same thing, or they do a lot of similar things. I haven't played with either of them yet. It's on the to-do list, but there's a lot of things on the to-do list. This is an unpopular thought. I think I like the original Crusader Kings more than Crusader Kings 2. For the same reason that I was talking about earlier, with once you understand something, it becomes easier, or harder and harder to have that sort of magic to it. That game felt very magical to me when I was playing it. Like, I did not understand the mechanics at all, and that made it so much more fun. Whereas CK2 is not fun for me at all, because it's all number crunching and it's all math, and it's not as much fun when it's like that. Yeah, Rush has a terrifying neighbor in Victoria 2. Victoria 2 is a really good game. Just like the way the countries change over the course of the century that the game takes place in. Russia starting out with a heavily agrarian society, pretty big population, a pretty big recruitable population, but you start running into some problems with being able to research tech and making factories and keeping up as the game goes on. And even once you start doing that, your different cultures and religions can start being problematic and causing some tensions. And it's so much fun. I think internal strife is maybe my favorite mechanic to engage with in grand strategy games. Not in the way that Hoi 4 does it, because that's not fun. The way Hoi 4 does it, like, revolt risk, or you're producing slightly less of this because some rebels blew up a factory, I guess. Or EU4, which is like, got some rebels. Or it just, EU4 did not feel like internal management when you're dealing with the estates or when you're dealing with rebels. It feels like balancing numbers. It feels like balancing a fucking checkbook or a spreadsheet. Just keeping all the numbers in the green or trying to keep them all in the green. It does not feel like people. It does not feel like managing people. But Victoria 2 did a very, very good job of feeling like you were this overarching government spirit desperately trying to manage a population that you couldn't really directly manage. That was fucking magical. That's it's one of the reasons why the amount that I've been streaming EU4 has dropped off fairly significantly. I mean, a new expansion pack came out, or a DLC or whatever the fuck. I bought it, and I don't think I played a new campaign since then. Like, it added some cool stuff, but it just feels like more things that I have to keep green on a spreadsheet and balance out to do well, and it doesn't have the sort of immersive role-playing type fun that I fell in love with the genre for. The quintessential grand strategy title, in my mind, is not a real game. It's an episode of Stargate Atlantis, where in this science fiction, hyper science fiction city they found themselves in, there's a computer lab, effectively. And in this computer lab, there is a game. And this game shows an entire planet and the civilizations that inhabit it. And you are able, through this game, and I'm doing lots of air quotes, you can tell these civilizations what to do. And, you know, intricate details from changing the fucking flag to figuring out what crops should be planted where, to what mineral deposits you find in what areas, and yada 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 yada. Just all the minutia of, you know, real life interactable. That's what I want out of a strategy game. I want real-time, unpausable, impossibly deep and immersive, and the game effectively running itself even if I don't step in. And when I step in, feeling like that's noticeable and measurable and significant. Now, it turns out in the episode spoilers, if you intend to watch this show that's like 10, 12 years old now, probably older than that, the game isn't a game at all. The people are real, the civilization is real, and the people dicking around playing the game in their free time were actually more or less playing God to unwitting, less civilized civilizations, causing a world war in which thousands and thousands of people died. But it's still pretty fucking cool. And that is quintessential strategy game in my mind. Grand strategy game anyway. But 4X, quintessential game, give me the piloting and macro scale. Give me the scale of something like Elite Dangerous. The ability to control individual ships and zoom in like that. God, I don't know, scale of something. Yeah, I want real scale. I want real world scale sandbox to play in, where you can zoom out to a galaxy map where you control lots of things, zoom into a system map where you can control individual things within the system, zoom into a planetary map where you control different things. Stellaris checks a lot of these boxes, but it does not check the be able to control individual ship box, and it doesn't really hit the real world scale box very well. Oh, still being able to command entire fleets, yeah. But again, unpausable, real time, where your attention, you have to delegate. You have to delegate. Like, your attention can't be everywhere at once. Pausing real-time strategy games, or 4X games, or grand strategy games, it feels like a crutch sometimes, and it can really easily remove me from the tension of the game, being like, whoa, wait. And it's a very helpful device to keep a player from getting overwhelmed, especially newer players. But if you had good enough code, good enough AI or pseudo AI in the game to help offset that panic and be like, hey, while you're doing this, I'll take over that, and the AI was smart enough to do it well, that's very important, then that would be so much fun. Yeah, X3 does pretty close. The exact game I have in my mind is not real. It's a game I have played in dreams, and that's the most fucking infuriating thing. Playing this perfect game by my standards, not, actually perfect, and then waking up and like, fuck, I can't play more of that. Like, the feeling of getting a new game and being really excited about it and like putting in a few hours and then like having to step away, and the whole time you step away from it, you're thinking about it. Imagine that, but never being able to walk back up to the game and pick it up again. Because it's not fucking real. It is one of the best and worst things to dream about. I honestly think it was around when Spore came out that I started thinking about it.
Hey there.
And Spore is a game of many broken promises.
Sir.
Can we give you some more useful stuff? Organization first? Yeah. Better recovery rate? Sure. That's not very... Whoop, nope, no tilde. And you got... Camouflage expert, paratrooper, skirmisher. I don't love any of these. You're still picking up other traits. Let's leave that be. I switched over to producing better power armor. Yeah, and it's upgrading, but it will take some time. I think supplies are really our biggest issue here. Valiant and Tobin Wasteland. Yeah, let's get Valiant, Tobin Wasteland, Courtyard, up there. Our supply throughput is causing some minor issues here. We're probably still going to win despite it, but would have rather it not be an issue at all. I do not know what's happening here, but I don't like it. I think we're encircled.
Hey.
I kind of hate Carson City, and I have this problem with New Vegas and the Brotherhood of Steel, the Western Brotherhood of Steel, because they also run into this issue.
Hello, sir.
Of I can't see what the fuck is going on in here.
Sir. What's up?
Is that encirclement over? I honestly can't tell. I hope it is. I think so? I think not. No. Maybe? Jesus Christ, this is hard to see.
I've got this one.
Well, we're winning in Carson City. We're taking Carson City. I don't think we lost anything there. No, we didn't. So, Enclave. My dudes.
Hello.
I don't necessarily want to pick a fight here. Exactly. But I kind of do. Move all those up to repair. That can be repaired. Or built, rather, not repaired at this point. We are lacking in our production. We are lacking advanced technology. Not advanced electronics, advanced technology, 14 units, and electricity, 9 units. Dope, dope. I can... Ooh, I need to build 5 of these? Dang. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many of these am I lacking? Probably a lot more. 7. I need to build 7 of those, just for now. Alrighty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just shift click all of these. Delightful. What are those? Okay, these? Yeah. Ah. I love that I'm thinking about attacking the Enclave and I'm still wary of attacking the Troll Warren. Of the two, the Enclave are probably the one I want to fuck with the least. Wow, Alex. They have 59 divisions. Ooh boy. Am I fabricating on them? No, good. Justify. Whatever. Potato. Our armies, in the field, we have as much as we have in free manpower. Yeah, Scandinavia is incredibly illiterate in the Victoria 2 base game, and I'm sure in most of the mods too. It's a lot of fun. It used to be a lot of fun taking EU3 games and porting them over to Victoria 2, just to see the domestic problems you would start having after a while. Vault City has expressed interest in joining our organization. I can join the Enclave. Interesting. Vault City has expressed interest in joining our organization, would certainly prove to be reasonable allies. Their technology and pure-blooded nature make them the closest thing to acceptable citizens the Switzerland has to offer the Enclave. Yeah? So we either join the Enclave... There is a converter for EU4, I know. I just felt like the EU3 to Vicky 2 one worked better, but I haven't done it in a while. I really do need to do a grand campaign again. Alright. Where the fuck is... Oh, okay, you just completed New World, Old Ideas. What does rejecting their application do? Vault City earns our ire. I kinda just want to join. Yeah, fuck it, let's join the Enclave. Hell yeah. You can't have this because you don't have Carson. I don't know. I think I might wrap up at the end of this hour for this. I'll switch over to playing Fallout proper. Because I don't know. I'm not doing a World Conquest as Vault City. You probably could. I just feel like we're spinning a lot of the wheels we've spun before. Like, they're kind of neat in that they have better research time and that they can make advanced technology. But that's it. They don't feel very different. New California Republic and Caesar's Legion feel very different. Yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had. I played one of the first converter games I brought over from U3 to Vicky 2 was playing as Japan. I had taken over all of mainland China right before converting. I'm like, the hard part is over. I was wrong. The hard part was not over. The hard part was being a Shinto minority, a Japanese Shinto minority, with a Chinese majority who were Confucian and Buddhist and Taoist. There were so many unhappy events, and I really wanted to keep it as an empire. That was a major pain in the ass. We were a very unstable nation. A lot of fun to play as, but yeah, I could have done better. Yeah, the Yakuza sub mod I'll take a look at. I will for sure. Yeah, it's fucking hard to make this many focus trees. It's hard to try to balance these many things. I feel like it's totally reasonable for Vault City to be a little boring because Vault City is kind of boring. They're isolationist and they just build up their city. And this isn't Europa Universalis 4. You can't model that super well into you can't build tall in Hearts of Iron 4 very easily. Hearts of Iron 4 is about building wide because if you build tall, 25 out of 25 slots is all you're going to get in a certain area. You can try to play with that and fudge that and work with that a little bit, but there's only really so much you can do. Kind of half expecting the Enclave to throw us an award we can't win against, say, like the NCR or something. It's worth noting that these two aren't even at war yet. You have annex war goals against each other, but for whatever reason, this is not fired off. Yeah, you have the new hardline. You had the assault on Hoover Dam, which, oh, Caesar's Legion 1. Render under Caesar? Are you about to start this war, maybe? Huh. I'm very confused. You two should really be at war right now. Is it... You have a cast... What? What the fuck? Pico's... The Pico's colony and the... Oh, wow. Mike Gringo's gonna show... Bodilio? Ranchers are doing surprisingly well. The New California Republic... I don't understand what happened up here. Just look away, Alex. Just look away. It's a shame that as Vault City you can't teach others to produce research facilities. In a multiplayer game, I could see Vault City being very, very important. Like... Oh god. Okay, that's war. Like, you being the only one able to produce more advanced technology means that other players are incentivized to keep you alive so you can build more advanced technology so that they can scale up how much power armor or lasers or whatever the fuck they're making, or vertibirds, or etc, etc, etc. And because you can only have so many factories per territory, they would also be incentivized to help you expand to a point. And if you were exporting all of your advanced technology, other people could be sending you their civilian factories in exchange, so you might not actually have to build all that many civilian workshops. But I don't think I've seen a multiplayer game of this played. I'm sure that it must happen at some point. I should... God knows, some YouTubers must have done this. Old World Blues multiplayer. Sure, it must be a thing. This is a fairly stable mod. Like, I don't think I've had this crash on me. Granted, I've never played it for more than like 12 hours in total for any single campaign, but still fairly stable. Yo, so you are at war with New Canaan and the Foragers now. NCR, baby, what is you doing? The bear roars. No. The bear should declare war. I am so perplexed. Ah, what time is it? That's about 7:45. No, I think I'm gonna keep streaming this for another 10-15 minutes, and then I'll switch over to actually playing Fallout. Unless something interesting grabs my attention here. Yeah. Hell, I might do it sooner. Yeah, why don't we do it sooner? If you're watching on YouTube, I'm okay to come back to this campaign, just like I'm okay to come back to our Enclave campaign, but it's only going to be by popular demand. In the Old World Blues mod, the campaigns run out of steam super fast for me, because after like 3 hours, there's not much left to do with a lot of these smaller factions. So yeah, YouTube, stop by again tomorrow for something else, not more of this. More of something else, though. Until then, make sure to comment, share, like, subscribe, yada, yada, yada. You know what's up. I'll see you later, YouTube. Toodaloo. Bye-bye.